It's a Mini! That's actually not so mini. See, this is actually the Mini Cooper S Countryman, and it's one of the biggest Minis that the brand makes. So is it any good? And does it still have that Mini character? Well, let's go for a drive and find out. So this not so Mini Countryman has 3 engine options. Well, actually it has 2 engine options, but one of the engines has 2 different power outputs. The base engine is a turbocharged 3-cylinder engine. This Cooper S has a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. And there's also the JCW version of the Countryman with the same 2-liter turbo engine and a little bit over 300 horsepower. I did a review of that one last year, and you can check out that video up here after you finish watching this one, of course. But anyway, back to this Cooper S with the 2-liter turbo engine. It produces 189 horsepower and 207 pound-feet of torque. That's good enough for 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just over 7 seconds. This Countryman doesn't exactly have pin you to the back of your seat performance, but when you put your foot down, it really gets going. It feels like it's faster than it actually is. Partly that's due to the low-end torque of this engine, as well as the 8-speed automatic transmission. Speaking of which, the 8-speed is very smooth to shift gears. Not the fastest if you're in normal drive mode and you decide to put your foot down, but if you're in sport mode or you decide to use the manual override on the shifter, it doesn't have paddle shifters unfortunately, but if you do decide to use the manual override on the shifter, it's very quick to respond to your inputs. The Mini Countryman is not a lightweight at 1,687 kilograms, but it can still return some pretty decent fuel economy numbers. 7.5 liters per 100 kilometers on a highway, and 10.4 liters per 100 kilometers in a city. During my time with it, I averaged 9.4 liters per 100 kilometers. My favorite thing about the driving experience of the Mini Cooper Countryman is the way that it goes around corners. It feels lighter than it actually is. It feels agile. I don't know why it feels that way because, like I said, it is a pretty heavy compact crossover. But from behind the steering wheel, it just feels like it weighs, I don't know, as much as a Lotus Elise. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but you get what I'm trying to say. It feels lighter. The steering is quick, and in normal mode it is a little on the numb side, but it's really nicely balanced in terms of weight. It's not too heavy, but it's also not too light. I think another reason why the Countryman feels so agile to me is because, well, the dimensions of the entire car. Like that hood, for example. It feels like I can almost just reach out and touch the front bumper. It's that short. And I can almost reach to the other, actually I can reach to the other door and touch it. But all of these things combined, the low-end torque of the engine, the quick shifting transmission, the smaller dimensions, all these things add up, and that's why it feels like it's an agile and quick and really fun to drive crossover SUV. I like it. On smooth city roads like this one, the Mini Countryman is very comfortable. You will notice quite a bit of road noise from the tires and a little bit of wind noise because, let's face it, it is pretty much a box on wheels. But you do notice that the ride is firmer once you start driving over not so well maintained roads. It's not something that's gonna really break your back or be a deal breaker for you when you go on a test drive, but long road trips over poorly maintained highways or concrete highways, I'd rather be in something like the Mercedes GLA. The cabin of the Countryman is actually quite spacious. You do sit fairly close to the passenger in the front seats, but headroom and legroom is plentiful for tall adults like myself at 6'4". Sitting behind my driving position, my knees gently brush up against the back of the front seats. There is more room though than it looks thanks to the indentation on the back of the front seats. You would think then that the remaining space for cargo is tiny since there is so much space for passengers. But not so. The trunk volume with the rear seats up is 450 liters, which is more than the Mercedes GLA 250 for example. But fold the rear seats down and cargo capacity is a bit less than the GLA 250 at 1,390 liters. The 2021 Mini Cooper S Countryman starts at a very reasonable $35,990. There are two primary packages that can be added on, Premier and Premier Plus here in Canada. In the United States, they're called Signature and Iconic. This particular demo vehicle came pretty much fully loaded with the Premier Plus package and a few other goodies such as a head-up display, navigation, panoramic sunroof, automatic climate control, adaptive cruise control, Harman Kardon stereo system, power liftgate, heated seats, and memory driver seat just to name a few. These gadgets brought up the price of this particular Mini Countryman to around $47,000 Canadian. As for the looks, the 2021 model year got a few nips and tucks here and there, but no major plastic surgery. The quick access media buttons underneath the touchscreen are now flush and made out of piano black plastic. It's meant to be a more premium look. As well, the driver display is fully digital instead of the analog gauges in last year's model. It has a matte finish that is supposed to make the screen legible in all conditions, but it is still difficult to see it if sunlight hits it at just the right angle. So what do I think of the Mini Cooper S Countryman? Well, you know what? To my surprise, I actually liked it quite a bit more than I thought I would. It goes up against the Audi Q3, the BMW X1, and the Mercedes-Benz GLA 250. Of those three cars, I've only driven the GLA 250, which, by the way, you can check out the video up here after you finish watching this one, of course. And compared to that one, this just drives a bit better. It feels more engaging to drive. It doesn't have quite the same amount of power and torque as the GLA 250. And the GLA 250 also has a slightly more plush ride over rougher roads than this. But most importantly, this costs less than the GLA 250. Even if you equip it with the Premier package, it's still going to be less than the starting price of the GLA 250, at least here in Canada. So on that basis, if you are considering a compact luxury crossover SUV, this should be on your list. Really, really consider it. If you want to know more about this Mini Cooper S Countryman, I wrote a more detailed review of it over on my website. You can find that link in the video description. And as always, I will see you in the next car or truck, or it'll probably be another SUV. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.